Welcome back to more messing around with I keep wanting to call this Dungeon Keeper. It's not Dungeon Keeper, it's Graveyard Keeper. More messing around with Graveyard Keeper. Take some of this bread with me. Right now, we find ourselves in a bit of a bind. We have a tech tree that we can in theory start upon, but we don't have ore for the furnace. Ore is to the west, across the river. There's a bridge that we could repair if we had the right kind of iron parts that I don't think we can make yet, until we can get some metalworking up, which we would expect to kind of need the furnace. But I'm going to kind of ignore all of that for the moment and spend a little bit of time focusing on gardening. Have some fun with the early tech tree, and within the limitations that we are currently subject to. Last time, I researched the concept of decay. So I am now capable of constructing a couple of compost heaps. And I can set those there. Grab some crop waste. Only two, I don't think. You know what? I don't really remember this. How much yard waste do I put into a compost heap? I need 8 for that. Alright, I can't use that yet. Never mind, we'll come back to that. I will take these fitches with me. I will leave the sticks here. And the stone. I am going to go into town, sell my burial certification thing, and I am planning to buy some seeds for more crops that I can plant in the garden. While enjoying this lovely scenery and taking time to pick flowers along the way. Something looks to have happened here. I'm not entirely sure what that even is. It's full of nails, whatever it is. There's flowers, there's a wheat field, there's a berry bush. So, we've enjoyed having bread, right? Helps us in our productivity. It's good to not be starving. And you would think, presumably, that this wheat field might mean that someone can sell us some more wheat with which we can make more bread. Like this guy. The mill, unfortunately, is broken. If you need something milled, you'd better go to the town. That's unfortunate. He has nothing to mill. I live at the graveyard. Great conversation topic there, Keeper. Keeper, nice to meet you. I have some old reserves you may find useful. So we can trade with him. And he will sell us some flour. So let's buy some. How much could we in theory purchase before the price increases? 8 flour. But we can actually only afford 3 or 4, so let's buy 3. And that might actually cut into the amount of money that I have to the extent... Can I break these? No. To the extent that I can't afford to buy seeds until I turn in this burial paper thing. Oh, hi, Donkey. I guess we'll have another corpse to go and tend to soon as well. I do not have a stamp yet. That's going to take a while. I could sell some of my bread. And it takes us 2 flour to make 4 dough, and 2 dough to make 2 bread. So the fact that the flour cost us 12 and the bread can fetch us 8 makes that a not terrible trade. But what I'm actually here for is to sell. And I might turn in the beer again, since I'm more in need of the money than I am in need of the beer. Oh well. Also, if we make money some way, either by our primary trade of burying corpses or some other way, we could buy things made from iron, or iron bars with which to forge things ourselves from Creswold. It's quite expensive to do so, however. Many of the potential mistakes that you might make in this game can be recovered from. It's just costly. There's that body. Hi, Creswold. I want to demonstrate part of that here. He sells iron ingots. We've seen that. For 80 copper. Which is pretty pricey. I could turn that into a collection of nails or a collection of simple iron parts, which he also sells. And I would get a better rate on that, making them myself than buying them from him. Something else that you can do, potentially, is sell him your old tools, which he'll buy for 75% of the value compared to the new ones, regardless of how much condition they have. So you can basically do a swap for 25 copper. And it has been pointed out that this gets you a better return than using the whetstones on your rusty tools. Which is true. But in order to replace these, in some way other than selling them to him, I would need a supply of metal. So I'm not going to sell him my tools right now. I don't need to. I'll keep using the whetstone even though it may not be the most cost-effective thing in the world. I got it for free and that makes it more cost-effective than if I was ever going to buy one. You'll see I sometimes do those little, whirl-arounds if I target something to use. Over here, we have a potter. His name is Adam. He sells ceramic bowls. And potentially other things. But he won't sell us anything else until and unless we upgrade him, which involves trading with him a bunch or something else that we won't get to right now. There's also these mysterious holes in his yard. What could it mean? It means that that's where he gets clay from, and where we can get clay from. You may be thinking, there's got to be a more efficient way to use food than this repeated clicking. And if you were thinking that, you'd be right. I think it just hasn't been unlocked yet for some reason. I don't remember what unlocks it. It's been a while since I was at the early stages of the game. Hello. Most of the townsfolk aren't people that I can talk to. They just meander around, attending to whatever their business is that I know nothing of. Now, beekeeper up here, I mentioned him before. He sells beeswax, and honey, and bees. and he will buy firewood off you. And here is a tree with a beehive in it. I can interact with that, and it gets me a pot of honey, and it also gets me stuff, unfortunately, for 15 health. But that's not a major concern right now. Gets so distracted by absolutely everything. The farmer is thankfully still here. Hello. Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying, even if it's drugs or magic elixirs. I'm just looking around. I don't know what's happening, but everyone is telling me that I'm a graveyard keeper. Oh, then you're even worse than those shifty traveling merchants. I must say, your whole profession is a fraud, and I don't like you. What's fraudulent about keeping a graveyard? Now that I've made my position clear, we can do business. Can you tell me about farming? Is there anything special I need to know? Is there anything special I need to know to be a good farmer? You need to know how to fertilize the soil and be ready to work hard. Honestly, you don't look like much of a farmer. You're better off buying from a professional like me. Even somebody like you could cook something nice with my vegetables. Like carrot cutlets, or a bowl of sauerkraut, or beet slices. And indeed, he is selling vegetables. He is also selling seeds, which are fairly affordable. I could sell him some of the flour. I just bought that, and I didn't buy it just to sell it again. I could grow some of my own wheat. With that, some beet seeds as well, which are more expensive. Now, how much am I running? That's quite a bit. I do want a bit more of these, in as much as I can afford them, because you don't necessarily get 4 seeds back from the 40 points. So there we go. Spend that contract pretty much all on seeds. But farming will offer you returns in the form of edibles, which can sometimes be sold and can always be eaten. There's also additional areas to explore, and I think I'll be doing some of that this video as well. It is the Merchant's Day. To be honest, personally, I'm not sure whether his vice is greed or gluttony. He's certainly a glutton. He's certainly also greedy. Let's plant some wheat, and also cabbages, and also beets, and we have carrot seeds as well, and we can plant those later. I could dig up another patch to plant them in, but you know what, I don't feel like it right now. Let me see. Let's put that down. Anything else I want to store right now? I'll put the honey away. Come in here. Put the flesh away. What I was actually going to do in here involves... Here we go. Making more dough and making more... Ah yes, and I need more firewood in order to be able to do much of that. So, let's get to work on the firewood. Each lot of this gives me 10 firewood. Eat some berries to recover my strength. And continue to work hard, despite what the farmer thinks of us. Now I've got some fire. And each one firewood gets us 30 fuel, which is more than 10 sticks. Decent fuel source. So let's fill this up with 10 firewood. That should be enough for quite some time. And cook our bread. And before I forget completely, I'm going to come down here and pick up this corpse, which is already rotting. They can rot down to 90% before it affects anything. After that, you've got this green. And that will start to infect the rightmost and whitemost skulls. I can repair the desk using my simple iron parts. I may have another use for these, so let's not do that just yet. Instead, let's take out this flesh, pick up the body, and bring it to the graveyard, because even though I will not get any points in my graveyard's quality for this, I will still get the contract. And at the moment, that is the most lucrative way that we have of making a living. Put our exhumation permission in here, because pretty much the only place I'm ever going to use that is in the graveyard. This could also be fixed up with stone and iron parts. More iron parts than I currently have. I also wanted to demonstrate this campfire over here, which we can also fuel at the same rate with some of this firewood. And it also manages neither to use up any of its fuel, nor to be a danger to anything, while left here lit. So we can just roast some mushrooms. And use up the rest of my energy chopping firewood. I do generally like to use up all of my energy before going to sleep. It's just something the way I play, I suppose. We were gaining some health there from the health we lost from tangling with some bees, and we have received another body, so we can go deal with that. Perhaps while it's still fresh, even. And all of these bodies are looking pretty much exactly the same. One red skull, 2 white, 1 flesh, and these unknown body parts. Some of which will be the hard spares and the soft spares that we haven't really looked at yet. In order to start making what we need to repair the graveyard and to replace some of the missing stones, we will need these 2 technologies. And we already have the stone. Just trying to remember. It'll probably be here. On the other hand, maybe not. Smithing, building, cookery. I'm trying to remember what you need in order to collect clay. Possibly that's missing down here somewhere. But clay is important because you need it for stone repair kits. If you're going to repair the stone, anyway. Rather than just replacing it, which is also an option. So maybe we don't worry about that. I could research the soft spares, which would allow us to also research the important parts, the brain, the heart, and the intestines, and extract those. Let's take a closer look at this body. We can now take the blood and the fat out of it. So let's do that. Unfortunately, we can sometimes make surgeons' mistakes, which decreases the quality of the body. But this body now has 2 white skulls and no red ones, which does make it better for burial. Got all these negative ones, -1, -1, -1. But this one is just nil. It's not bringing down our quality at all. Next order of business. Setting up the carpentry table that I unlocked. Here that is. And we can rotate that. We could put that there. Do I want to put that there? Sure. I'll be able to move these things around later. Well, I can't really, but I can destroy them and rebuild them. And now, this will enable us to smooth out flitches into wooden planks. It will also enable us to build wooden markers, wooden crosses, and wooden grave fences, also with planks. Now these are worth more than the wooden markers. They do require a little bit more work to smooth out the planks, but currently the thing that we're going to have difficulty replenishing is nails, and they're the same cost on that, so these are just superior ones. Let's smooth some planks. Whoops. Let's actually do that. And we can make us a couple wooden grave fences. Running out of energy though. That should help. And a wooden cross. We can also make 4 repair kits out of 2 nails, a wooden plank, and some fitches to enable us to repair some of what is already there. And that was only not available because I hadn't picked up the plank. Now we can really get to work fixing up this graveyard. let's see. We have white skulls on those two. We don't have any white skulls to get to for this. So these are gravestone on one of these. That goes from a -1 to a +1. The grave fences will only clear up 1. Put one of those here, which will deal with that red skull, and there's nothing else for us to do here. But we can use 2 of our repair kits? Seriously? Or 1 to fix that. We could also remove it. If we remove it, we can replace it with this one. Okay, that one's depleted, this one is not. Which helps a bit. You'd also add grave fences, if we had any more, to some of these. Now this is the one down here that demands more attention. There's a bunch to do with these. For now. We'll just put the repair kits that I've made in there. And let's go exploring. It is Green Day. I'm not going to collect these things right now, just wandering around. Some fireflies, some vines. There's a fishing spot out here by the waterfall. There is a pile of sand that I can't currently do anything with. I don't see the point of it. And there's a path that leads up north. To this lovely bright area, riddled with stones, and there's this. What is this, you might wonder? This is a quarry, and it will enable me to collect big stones, broken up into smaller stones. Also some berry bushes and some trees with beehives in them, and a blockage, which we could clear with some simple iron parts, some wooden planks, and some wedges. For now, let's just tidy up these messes, which will get me fetch. These are nice renewable sources of berries. I've been really silly, haven't I? Yes, I have. This is the quick access bar that I thought I had to unlock because when I was playing this before, I was on a lower resolution. And on this screen, it appeared overlaid on top of here, and I didn't see it blending into the background down there. Fool me. Got some metal scraps from that one. Broken AP. Which I don't even have the power to repair for some reason. Now that I have these here, I can use these things even while I am just doing work, and there's suddenly bats. Bats are a bit dangerous. They charge. Thankfully, they're no match for me. Just keep on swinging and they'll go down. I want to collect honey from this tree too. We were promised the secret to making delicious cakes, if we could collect enough honey. So we're going to do that. And this, up here, is currently like the best place to collect honey. I think there might be another honey tree over here. Perhaps I'm misremembering. There are more bats down there. Oh. But there are also some piles of ore down there, and I had actually forgotten that. It means, among other things, that we do not need to make it to the swamp to get our first ore. We can take it from there. Which, if we go at this time of day, will mean fighting bats. I can handle some of that. Also, picked up some of those baked mushrooms. Now, each of these will restore me 12 energy. And it won't have any poisonous effect. Also, the honey, if I were to use it, would give me 25 and 3 health back. But right now I'm saving those up for a recipe. So let's take on some more of these bats. Going cautiously. Apparently the bats went away. Not sure why the bats went away, but apparently the bats went away. I can collect some of this iron ore, which is fantastic. Give us an early source of iron for our tools and stuff. Also dig up this stump for the wood that they'll offer me. Now, I should mention, for anyone who's watching this and hasn't actually played the game, that you can't just keep going indefinitely. The longer you stay awake and doing things, subsisting on food, the closer you get to becoming actually fatigued. And you've seen that if I run out of energy, I stop being able to do things, but that's different. If I actually become fully fatigued, I will get a status effect, which will show up here on the top of the screen. And that will actually drain my energy, so that I can accomplish far less. Ah yes, I have a broken grave fence, which I can also chop into 4 pieces of foam, if I don't want to repair it. So that can still be useful to me. I will set this up to produce me some more fitches. And continue chowing on berries until this shows up. Which is exactly what I was just talking about. You need to sleep or you'll keep losing energy. Now, I'm not losing energy right now, because I don't have all that much of it. What that debuff actually does is it will cause you to lose energy at any time you are above a certain threshold amount, which I think is about half. So, bring it to about there, and I start to lose it gradually over time, as you can see. So it's not the most punishing thing. But it will tax you and it will prevent you from getting the full benefit that you could out of higher value foods, which I don't currently have access to anyway. It is a reminder to sleep, though. And I suppose I will, but I want to finish off these planks first. Stubborn about sleeping. I'm stubborn about sleeping in real life, too. Got some extra planks. Got some metal scrap, which I definitely don't need to be just carrying around. Got some bread. Could use some fried eggs, which are super fast to make. Slice up some more meat. Let's get some sleep, though. We're tired. We're also wounded. I kind of forgot about that. And now we're refreshed. Cook up that meat. And I will go out here and tend to the furnace, which we haven't used yet. It's not fuel. We can fuel it with firewood. It takes lots of 10 firewood to fuel it at all for 90 fuel each. Having done that, we can produce ingots from ore at a 1-for-1 trade for 25 fuel. So now we can get some metalworking going on here, and that will enable us to do so much. It will enable us to make a whole bunch more of these, for one thing. For now, I'll make a bunch of wooden grave fences, because there's a bunch of graves in the graveyard that are going to need fences, including some that are already there. Now, if there's no room to pick something up, then it just drops to the ground next to you. You can come and pick it up. There's no way to drop things on the ground that are in your inventory, as far as I know. Put things down here, but you can't drop them on the ground. Let's put the iron ore down. We don't need that right now. Store the story as well. We don't need that right now. Honey in here, that can wait until later. I think we want 5 for our friend Dig. And I can check. Yep, 5. What else can I store? I can store the bat wings. What the heck are we going to do with bat wings? There's nothing I can use it for right now. And I'll store some red flowers. And the fat and the blood. Actually, I want to take the fat and blood with me. Store those in the graveyard. It seems more appropriate. And for another reason that I won't get to right now. At this point, I can start to do grindy industry, which is often what I wind up doing in games like this. Other people ascend layers of the tech tree quickly. I rarely do that. Perhaps I should, but I rarely. Now let's see. A stone grave fence can add up to 2 conditions of grave. This needs a repair. looking better already. This needs a repair. Nicer, nicer. This needs a fence. I'll also put the flowers down here. I have those available to quickly refill my bar. This is no longer detracting, but we are going to need an improvement on one of those fences in order to have it gain us any points. Perhaps we'll bother with that, perhaps we won't. For now, I'm just making sure that everything here has a fence, which is in good repair. And I will just take that one out and replace it and chop it up for firewood. No real point in adding a grave fence here. We've already covered all of the skulls. Put this in here, put these in here. And continue. I wanted to fix this. That'll take some simple iron parts. I want to fix this. That'll take some simple iron parts too, and also some stone for each side of it. But the hatch is kind of handy to fix. What does it do, you might wonder? It allows a donkey to drop the corpses directly into the mud. At this point, our garden has ripened, and we have some crops. And now, there's enough crop waste to put on the compost heaps. Getting our first iron ingots. What an exciting time to be alive. I don't have any more beet seeds. That was the one that I didn't get as much of. Don't have any more wheat seeds either. I have some carrot seeds. And I do have more cabbage seeds. So I can plant those. And I will. This is the one where... No. I wasn't planting carrots at all. Do I have the ability to work with stone? I have the ability to build a stone cut. What do I need to build it at? Flitches and nails. Well, let's make some nails. And some simple iron parts, which I will need for so much. Anything else to eat on me? Well, now I have these vegetables. And I could just eat those. But more importantly, the vegetables can be used for cooking. And for doing things like making some of this meat into sandwiches for 1 baked meat and 1 cabbage and 2 bread for a total of, what's that? Rounded up to 20 plus 30, 50 plus 5, 55. 53, really. I could make 3 sandwiches, which are each worth 20 energy. The increase on that is only marginal, but I'd like to make some. The increase in that is only marginal, and it may be worth noting as well that of course it costs energy to make them. Does it actually save anything? Saves inventory space. You may recall that I can also cook the beets to turn them into beet slices. I could cook 2 beets for 1 beet slices, which also improves that marginally at a cost of fuel. Is it worth it? Maybe. We'll see. Also have this wheat. I can grind 4 wheat into 4 flour. Then make it into dough. Make that into bread. And make that into sandwiches. For very slight increases. Never-ending cycle of industry. But now we have iron going, at least. And that will enable us to do more. With the nails and the iron parts. Let us build a stone cutter so we can start working with stone. That way, we can build superior stone grave markers. And we can break up this big piece of stone that we mined from the quarry. If we had any clay, we could make a stone repair kit. We don't right now. What we can make are simple gravestones. They are worth 2 apiece, much like the crosses. And we've been doing so much work that we really need to rest again. But we're starting to see the rhythm of the game. Cook up some more bread. Cook up some more iron. Shape some more of these simple metal pieces. Which can be used for all sorts of things, including expanding our workyard. What else can we put here? Well, we've already got a furnace, and we don't really have room for another one right now. Iron ore stockpile, but we're not currently dealing with large chunks of iron ore. It could be someday, but not now. Got a sawhorse, got a chopping. We could increase our yard space, but first we need complex iron parts. And we can't even make those yet. We have been putting together a whole bunch of red and green points. And we can create complex iron parts by researching advanced forging. So let's do that, and let's also research tools, so that we can perhaps improve our tools. We could make, using simple iron parts and sticks, and some extra iron, a better version of our axe, shovel, and pickaxe. I'm interested in doing that. It's going to take this iron a bit to smelt, so we should go do something else for now. We can check what it takes to build an anvil. 4 more iron. So much iron. All the iron. Put some more mushrooms on. Notice we have a bodies counter up here. There are no bodies in the morgue right now. Got a bunch of gravestones. So that I could replace this wooden cross with a gravestone which is in good repair. Do the same with this wooden marker. And I could put one here. Now these things are looking much tidier. I'll just take that one off. The only options I have... Oh no, I can replace it with that. Now that I have been tending this lovely graveyard, I've gotten it up to 13 quality, and that'll be enough to claim to have fixed it. He was right about us. We are official keeper of this holy place and prior of the church. Let's arrange your first sermon. It'll be a great honor for you to present. Just stand at the pulpit and speak the words. What words? The words! Actually, just say whatever you want. You know, this place isn't so bad. Put up some extra decorations, some nice candles, music, incense, got all oiled up for a nice massage. A long story short, all this stuff will help you get more faith. And faith is power. Okay. So, we can create a prayer for faith. Very touching words, and we are now a preacher. We can arrange a church service, so there you go. We can perform a casual prayer. May the Force be with you. Not too bad, but my sermons are much better. You should really prepare for your next sermon. I think the last prayer kept some books with some wonderful words in the church library. You'll probably find some weird stuff in there too. One of the keepers was engaged in scientific research. You can throw all that stuff at it. We now have a curious mind. Studying an item has a chance of giving you a story. We can gather old books. We can use a blueprint to make a study table. I'll spread the word about your next ceremony. Maybe next week someone will show up. By the way, as prior, it's now your duty to perform a weekly ceremony on Sunday. I can sell you some useful accessories for it. Also, I have a small task for you. Just talk to me when you're ready. I have to get out of here. The air is so dry. My skin can't take it for long. So now, we have unlocked the church. There is an opportunity to build up here. And our fellow wants to give us a quest once he emerges from the church. No, apparently he just completely vanished. From the head of the Royal Treasury Department, we are happy to congratulate you on the reopening of the church and the graveyard. We are pleased to inform you that by using these lands, you have become a subject of royal law. All on-ground structures remain property of the Holy Church. All surface land and buildings that sit no deeper than 1 royal leap, 4 royal spit, as dictated by the ancient contract, belong to the royal family and the town. Through this mailbox, you may now access a vast array of services provided by the Royal Treasury Department. Your taxes may also be paid by mail. Have a nice day, and remember, King Joe VII loves you. We can buy exhumation permissions here, which you may notice cost slightly more than we get for our burial certificates. We can also purchase citizenship, which only costs 10 copper, and it enables us to have 30 reputation with royal services. We can buy a royal meat stamp for 50 silver, which we are nowhere close to having. And we can get building permission for 20 silver, which we're also nowhere close to having. But it's good to know that those are options. Perhaps more interestingly, let's explore the basement of this church, which we were told has a library. It's also got a pile of rubble. There's a wooden beam here. Or, well, there's not a wooden beam. We could use a wooden beam to clear it. Oh, it's a speed potion, and some blood, acceleration powder, and chaos solution to be strong. We could create a study table, but we would need conical flasks and some more wooden planks, as well as single iron pots. There's a bunch of broken down bookcases, which we can gather flitches from, as well as some complex iron parts and ruined books. Come on. There we go. And there's a desk down here. A study table. And we can study many things in our yard. It takes science and faith to do so. You might be wondering, how do we get science? It's a good question. I believe we can use some paper or other intellectually oriented things on the study table in order to do that. The study table we already have. So first things first, we would need some paper or something to do that. There's also technology, so we can check out research, which has now been unlocked, journalist, which has been unlocked since talking to Workbench. We can unlock paper crafting. So let's do that. We need a church workbench in order to make paper. That's one of the things that the poet wants from us. A church workbench will take more complex iron parts and some nails than we have. See Jerry down there, and we can see that the morgue is indeed connected to the church basement. We'll clear that out as well, and we'll take a wooden beam. I am going to want to leave the casual prayer and the story, and I suppose these worn out gravestones in here. Also keep the ruined book here because we are going to have something that we can do to potentially salvage it. And I'll keep the faith here too for now. Strange that you can keep faith in a trunk, but this game is that kind of strange. Now, blood and the fat, I also want to put downstairs. You may have noticed there was already a drop of blood in this chest. And a recipe suggests that maybe we can use it for something. There is a body to prepare. So, what, are you a cleric now? It seems so. I don't remember anything after my death. Maybe there's nothing there. Or maybe I just forgot everything. Amnesia can be a useful skill, you know what I mean, my friend? A skill? You still want your wine. Of course you do. Extract what useful things we can from this corpse, and mangle it somewhat in the process, because we're not all that great at this, unfortunately. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Then we can come over here and put it in one of these graves. Or maybe we can't. Need to fix that chunk. Oh, but this is exciting. We have got some peat and some maggots. Now, I can plant some peat, 1 unit of peat in this plant, in this plot, and the next plants that I plant there may have a slightly better return. Put some peat away. Now the maggots can be eaten, which is slightly disgusting, but still useful. I wanted to make myself a new shovel anyway, and I kind of forgot about that. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we have a better shovel. We can make a better axe and pickaxe while we're at it. There we go. We are making upgrades, folks. What will this do? It will allow us to do our work more efficiently. And I believe they'll last longer too. So we'll start picking up some efficiencies. And that's always helpful. For now, I think I'm going to rest, save my game. We can come back to this and progress further next time. Sweet dreams, oh graveyard keeper. Excuse me? Never mind. Who are you? No, I'm not a thief. Have you ever been in prison? Yes, we escaped from prison 3 days ago. Wow, a real repeat offender. Cool. I couldn't possibly be a thief. I'm a marquis. I've heard of contract killers nicknamed Baron, Viscount, and Countess. We were sentenced by the Inquisition to the fire. We are not heretics. This is just someone's vile slander. So we escaped from prison. Not everyone managed to get out of town. Those who survived set a camp nearby. I'm forced to come to you, Keeper. We desperately need your help. I know that, Mark. Yes, we're ready to pay. Money makes the world go round. Show me your camp and let's talk details. Alright, maybe I'm not done. Our servants secretly delivered us some items and food for the first days. But we need much more to survive, and we have nowhere to go. And why don't you hunt, gather mushrooms, berries, grow vegetables? You're right, but understand our situation, please. We all belong to the aristocracy. We have neither experience nor skills for living in such conditions. We know philosophy, etiquette, rhetoric. Can that help us with food and drink? No, but you can learn from the basics. On the other hand, please rest assured, we have more than enough to pay you for your services. Food and drink? That doesn't sound complicated. Okay, get the money ready. There's just one more thing you should know. The Inquisition is looking for us. Which means if you tell anyone about us, we'll all die by torture. Sure, it's top secret. One more thing. And the more thing. One of my, friends desired to meet you very much. Master Alaric, the former Inquisitor who helped us escape. Graveyard Keeper, what an honor to meet you. It's a pleasure for me too, but speak louder, his hearing is quite poor. But I haven't done anything yet to... Much louder, he's almost deaf. To deserve such a respect! You do, and you will do. Teodoro, could you let us talk privately? Of course, Master Alaric. Your grim secrets, thank God, are not my business. And now, what do you know of the role you've been chosen to play? Protagonist. Sorry? What did Ancient God tell you when he brought you here? Oh, we're gonna go into the red-eyed figure. He's looking straight through me. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I have no idea what you're talking about. I bury corpses, conduct sermons, trade human flesh. That's all! I haven't done that, actually. Don't lie to me, Keeper. I know more than you can possibly imagine. Then what's the point of interrogating me, Master Alaric? I see. Forget my questions. Please, just leave me in peace. No problem. Have a good day, Master Alaric. This guy sure could use a hearing aid. Don't pay him any heed. Alaric is just a selfish and cruel old man. Like the other Inquisitors. But you said he rescued you, Marquis. Isn't that a reason to be grateful? Perhaps, but there are many more reasons not to be grateful. Alright. New content get? Oh. Storehouse. Where even are we? We build a new refuge. The free place, refugee happens. I can build a new refugee. But there are various things that I need to do first. doesn't look like I can actually get in anywhere except here. I have nothing to say to you, Keeper. Well, that's inconvenient. Why did we piss him off, Keeper? Apparently these people want food and drink. Where the hell am I? Up north in a place that I was not previously able to get to. Have they unblocked the road? I'm going to spend some time gathering honey, but... Excuse me. Those things can just bounce off you very fast and cost you health each time. And it seemed like the dialogue box being open there prevented me from swinging my sword. Yes, they seem to have cleared this out. How resourceful of you. And the bats vanish at midnight, apparently. Well, this is, appearing to be the start of some new content. I'll have to consider that. Can't pick that up, my inventory's full. At the moment, I will set down an anvil, which means I don't really have any need for the wooden handle anymore. So I'll just spend as much time as it takes me to take that down. These things away. And call it a rest. Intriguing. I don't want to wait for all of my health to restore. I can take a few days to do that. Next time.